Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Beliefcast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester, your host of the Beliefcast. Today, I sit down with an incredible man whose life has been shaped by deep love, devastating loss, radical faith, and a powerful transformation. Danny Lesslie is a widower, a proud girl dad, entrepreneur, speaker, and the author of the deeply moving memoir, Thank You, Cancer. And yes, you heard that right. He said, Thank You, Cancer. We're going to talk more about why that's titled that way. After losing his wife, Raffi, to cancer, Danny found himself walking through unimaginable grief, identity loss, and personal collapse. But instead of allowing pain to define him, he chose to let it refine him. His message is one that will hit home for anyone who has lost someone, lost themselves, or wondered if they could ever feel meaningful again. And I know much of my audience has been through hell, and that's why you turn into this. And so this episode is for you guys. I'm glad you're tuning in. Thanks to my sponsors. Without you, I would not be able to do this. And guys, this podcast is ranked in the top 100 in mental health, and it's because of these amazing people I bring on who have the courage and the guts to share what they've been through. And so we are so lucky, guys, to have Danny with us today. So Danny, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Todd. It's an honor to be here. I wish it wasn't how we are here, but it is yet an honor to tell the story and, maybe pass some light into someone else's darkness if we can do that.
Yeah. Well, again, we were just talking before we, actually hit record, and we both love each other's vibes. And I really love Danny and just he wears his faith on his sleeve. He's got a lot of energy. He's a believer in the good, and he really tries to portray that and send that out to the world. So we get that today. But why don't we do this? Let's get right to it, Danny. Why don't you take us back to the moment when your life completely changed with that diagnosis that Raffi got?
Okay, so Raffi and I met in Los Angeles, had our kids out there, got married out there. Los Angeles was very good to us, and we left and came to the Midwest. And my family is from the Midwest, and it was there that I began to manage a ranch. Couple hundred cattle, lots of acreage, all that stuff. And she was homeschooling the girls. Raffi was a teacher by trade. She was the quintessential mother. Life was just so busy and bustling. It was beautiful. We had a herd of alpacas. We had a coffee trailer. We had an RV. We were living on 17 acres that came with the ranch. We had ponies. Wow. I mean, it was a dream. We were so busy, and we were tired, but man, we had little kids and life was beautiful. And then Raffi one day said, hey, I have this bump I found on my vulva. And she said, I need to go get it checked out. I said, okay, let's go to the doctor. And we went, and the doctor said, you need to have this taken off immediately. And so within 3 or 4 days, she was in surgery. And that was all we really knew. And after that surgery, when she was in recovery, the doctor came in and told me that it was she had done the radical version of the surgery, which is not what you want to hear. That she had thought she had gotten clean lines, and that it was a cancerous mass. And that was the first that either of us had really thought about it as cancerous, which came as a real shock to me because Raffi was not there. She was in recovery. Wow. And so I had to present that information to her later that night. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone to tell them that is such a, is terrible. I mean, it gives me, the hair stands up on my arms still to even think about it. Yeah. And our life exploded. I mean, that was.
Well, and I wanted to start with that because I want to hit people with that. And then but I also want to go back now. Obviously, Raffi was the love of your life the moment you saw her. I think you were teaching like a fitness class And
Yeah.
she comes to the class, and instantly both of you knew that, man, there was a chemistry there, a fire there. And
Yeah, it was noticeable. And it's interesting because I talked to people that were there at that time, and they attest to it, that there was definitely something different that was going on between the two of us.
yeah,
And at the time we were both dating other people, but so nothing happened immediately. But over the course of the next year or so, we became friends. And then once the switch flipped, that was it. I mean, it was game on.
yeah. In your book, Thank You, Cancer, you relay a really funny story where you're really digging this girl, thinking she's maybe could be even the one, and then you notice a car seat in her car.
Todd,
And,
this was that nothing had happened. I just met her.
oh, was this
This
like
was
day
the first
one?
time I met her. I didn't even know her. I didn't know anything about her. I knew that whatever was going on was something that was worthy of interest.
Yeah.
And then it's in one of our first conversations where I saw that car seat because she parked right by the park, and I just decided to kind of lob out a question just to test the waters or whatever. And she knew what was happening, and she caught me, and she goes, "Oh, it's my daughter's." And man, I must have went white. Like it was obvious that whatever she said destroyed me.
Yeah.
And so she starts laughing because she knew, and it was after that, man. It was all over. I mean, it was just a matter of time until it was official.
Well, it's funny because as I was reading that in your book, it really paints a really powerful story. I could feel myself in your shoes going, oh, that would be so deflating. You're thinking, and then realize that she was messing with you, saying, hey, no, I'm good. I'm available kind of thing.
Man, and it was that, man, her wit, she was so fast, and it was so much. We would have so many conversations where there were no words ever said. I mean, our whole relationship, and it was just that she was my person. It just, I don't know how else to say it,
Yeah. And I know it's cliche, but it's like, she really was, you guys were love at first sight. It was, there it is. It's like, you kind of knew at that point, right?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like we like I said, there was a period where we kind of got to know each other and who each other were, but there was no off switch. There was no, I mean, once we decided we were dating, our first date, we were talking about kids. I mean, I took the key to that door and threw it away. This is my girl. We're good. And it just never changed.
Wow. So here you are, you find the love of your life. If we jump forward a little bit, you guys get together, get married, and do your thing. And, like you said, you're living your life, and life, I mean, it sounds like before, obviously, the diagnosis in that, I mean, everyone has challenges and we all have our stuff that we deal with, but overall, things were going really well for you two.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people, I think LA gets a bad name sometimes because people can be rough in LA, and it's rightfully so. But, LA was really good to us. I went out there to start a gym. I did that. It was successful. Met the love of my life there, had two beautiful daughters there, left. I mean, it was beautiful for us. And, and life was just, it's like when you have little kids, life is crazy, but it's all good stuff.
Right.
And you're finding your way, and you're feeling your way through the dark a little bit, and then this bomb goes off, and man, all bets were off for years.
So you hear this, and obviously you're devastated when you hear the news, and so is she. I mean, it's a shock, and again, you don't have to obviously replay everything, but it's almost like, so now what? Because again, you're a man of faith. You wear it on your sleeve, and I really appreciate that about you and admire that about you, that you're not afraid. But it's still at the same time, what was going through your mind? Were you questioning things? Were you questioning your relationships with God? And I mean, what was that like?
Well, it wasn't. So I didn't always have the same stance I have today. I came from a Lutheran background, and I kind of did all the religious things. I went to church, and, I was doing the things. And it wasn't until this season, and Raffi came from a spiritual place, but not really a religious place. So it wasn't until this came, and we lost all control in this season that we started to figure out, and Raffi kind of keyed into it before I did. It was like, this whole game is a game of a relationship. It's a relationship with Jesus game. It's not what you do on Sundays. I mean, yes, people that have a relationship with Jesus go to church on Sundays very typically, but it's not like you're getting gold stars, you know, on Sundays, you know, and I thought about it that way, you know, originally. And so then everything began to change for us, and our life was far outside of our control. I mean, this, you know, there's this cancer diagnosis, and then this surgery. That's when we got the diagnosis, and another tumor starts growing in her hip, and that thing gets out of control, the size of a grapefruit, and bursts through her skin. And that, I mean, our life was so out of control. We ended up going to Tulsa and getting chemo and radiation for that, and God willing, that went away. You know, we get back, and she's recovering from that, and then I get fired out of nowhere. We lose job and house in the same day.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a friend of ours, not even a friend, an acquaintance, gives us a fifth wheel camper. So now we have a place for our family, my wife, who's recovering from surgery again, my 2 kids, and our 2 dogs to live in a fifth wheel camper now because our house got taken away. And then another friend of ours who happens to be a pastor is like, hey, you can come live at our property. Someone that lives in an RV just left our 5 acres. Like, hold on.
Wow.
Hold on. I'm not responsible for any of this.
Right.
Like, and that's where our story went, and it just kept going. And it's this thing of, you know, I love how Hormozy says it. I don't know if you know Alex Hormozy, but
oh yeah, I know Alex. Yeah.
He talks about building a stack of undeniable evidence of who you are.
Oh yeah.
And in our case, the stack of undeniable evidence that God was showing up on our lives became very laughable. Like, how would you not attribute this to God? I mean, it was unbelievable. And you've read most of the book, and it's just like, holy moly, like these stories, they're crazy. They're so crazy. And so in our life, we, you know, and now I tell it like, you know, we all operate like in a horizontal orientation in our life. We can solve our own problems. We can earn the money. We can, you know, find solutions and all these things. And what changed everything for us was not that. It was changing our orientation to a vertical one, to aligning with God, where things started to happen that were way outside of our control in our life, even despite this trial we were in our life, illuminated in ways that are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy. And so where I stand now is not where I was before.
Sure.
Nor was it where she was before, but it was in this season that it became so obvious.
Yeah.
It was so obvious. And but a lot of things got stripped away from us to realize that. Like it took me a while to understand. Like I needed some help, you know, and losing your job and losing your house and losing health and losing all your money, and you know, you start to tune in.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Well, you talk a lot about, Danny, about you have 2 choices. You say this all the time. You can turn inward, try to figure things out on your own and this and that, or you can turn upward.
Yep.
And it's almost as if you went through all of this to teach you to turn upward. Is that fair?
Oh, I think that what I think is that we have these moments in our life that are terrible and that we find ourselves disoriented. Stage 4 cancer diagnosis is one. Losing my wife is one. I've lost jobs. Same thing. I got a DUI when I was younger. Same thing. Like these are disorienting moments. And it's like, you have an opportunity. You can either look to yourself or you can say, all right, God, how do we do this? And I think the answers come out very differently. And I would say that the life experience then comes out very differently as well.
Yeah. Wow. Well said. Talk about, Danny, obviously we're jumping ahead quickly through this, but there's so much to talk about. You know, there's so much I want to get to. You know, obviously, you know, you guys are going through this together now. You're watching your wife suffer through this. I mean, you're suffering, but you're watching her body change and you're seeing all of this. And it's getting to that point where, you know, you probably know at some point she's gonna pass away. How did you deal with that? And at the time of her passing, what was that like? If you don't mind, kind of at least describing what was going on with you.
Yeah, so I chose to hold on to hope despite whatever was happening.
Right.
That was my choice. I did not want her to have any inkling that I had given up on her.
Mm-hmm.
For better or for worse, that was my choice.
Sure. Makes sense.
I didn't want her to think that I had given up on her.
Yeah.
And so I chose to hold on to hope. And um, you, there was, it's hard when you're in that season of slow decline because your brain kind of lies to you. Like, how
Right.
bad really is this?
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes hard because, when, say, someone has a little kid and their kid is growing, if you don't see them but like once a month, a change is obvious.
Yeah.
But to a parent, it's kind of like, well, I don't really notice because I'm with them every day.
Sure.
It's kind of that same thing, but in reverse, right? And
Right.
so there was probably some of that justification going on in my mind as we were nearing the end. But so we moved into this house that we live in now, which is where she passed in October of 2024, and she passed in December. It was
Wow.
It was getting bad, when we moved here, and she had been in bed for a long time at that point.
Yeah.
And the treatment wasn't working, but there's always hope, man. And we weren't
Sure.
letting go of that. And we went to some extreme lengths. I built a bed in our Honda Element on, like, there are these drawer slides that you can buy that hold 500 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And a Honda Element, the seats go up. And I built her a bed in there to get her to the hospital because an ambulance couldn't take her because she had to lay on her belly.
Wow.
And I was like, how do we just not take people places to get treatment? And there was no answer other than spending 10 grand to do it or whatever,
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I built the bed in there to take her and was like, we're not giving up. We're going to do this until,
Yeah.
and so, but there was a certain time where it hits you and the writing's on the wall. And with her calcium levels would raise in her blood, which would affect her in different ways, but it would affect her cognitively.
Mm.
So, she would kind of forget what she was thinking about, or it would and that was where it got real hard because she was very tired. So she wasn't awake very much, and she was cognitively, it was a moving target. So in the last kind of months, it was very hard to know like what's happening. And you come to this place of like, well, I want to have final conversations with her, and those don't really happen. And it's just this, and you're also just trying to survive. And
Right.
so this mind of like logic that I have now, you don't have in that moment. And you're just trying to do the best you can. And you never do what you want to do totally because you're in triage mode. And we had been in triage mode for 5 years. Like we were so exhausted, and it just happens, and it's just destruction. And I'm just glad I could be there for those days, and that our kids could be there, and that we were around her.
Yeah.
Because in the end, it was like all I wanted to do was for her to know that she was loved. Like, I didn't care. That was it. Because, you got someone that's laying in bed, dying, and there's nothing you can do. And that, as a man, is so hard because you want to fix. And
Right.
I was like, how do I let her know that she is loved? Because in her last days, she couldn't talk. We didn't like have a final hug. We didn't have like the final conversation of like, man, I loved our life together. Like,
wow.
We didn't have any of that. And I don't know what I don't know what I thought was losing her was going to be like. Like, you're going to have this beautiful dinner and have a hug and talk about your life and how much fun you had. And that is not what happens. And that's something you don't get to until they're not here anymore. And then you're stuck in your own head, and there's no one to answer the questions that you need answered. And so you just kind of do, because I never believed it was going to be the end. I just didn't.
Yeah.
And I realized, okay, you could say, yeah, that's a mistake. And I was like, I would tell you it's a mistake to give up. I'd rather run it till till the wheels fall off, and instead
Yeah.
of being like, no, we're just gonna give up. That's not. I can't imagine that.
Right.
But yeah,
Wow.
those days, but for us, we chose to do it all together. We chose to have the girls there as a part of everything, and the girls walked through every day with us, and they were with her up until the end. And I'm very thankful for that, because our girls they're so emotionally resilient, and their bandwidth is incredible. And we talk about grief, and they were there with Mama the whole time.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. That's heavy stuff, and I appreciate that. That actually goes right into my next question. You already kind of alluded it here at the end. Is I wanted to ask you, what have your daughters taught you about resilience, watching them go through this?
We think we need to protect our kids, and they're the ones that are the most plugged into things. We are the ones that have the layers. We, the adults, are the ones that have to work through the layers to get connected to the moment. Man, so there's a painting right here on my dresser that is actually in the book. It's just a picture of it. But
yeah,
my girls were at my parents' house. I don't know. So Raffi passed in December. Yeah. They were at my parents' house probably in the spring of that year at some point. My daughter drew a picture, the younger one, drew a picture, and I believe it is a picture of an angel. It might be God, it might be Mama, but it's a heavenly picture.
Yeah.
And on the back, it says, "Welcome to Heaven, 2024.
Whoa.
And this picture was done 8 months before Raffi passed. And then I asked her about it, and she said, I had a dream that Mama was going to pass. I mean, those kids, they are so connected. And so many times throughout this journey, people would tell me, you need to protect the kids. You need to make sure the kids are okay. And it's like, the kids need to be with their mom. Wow. And it's true. That's what we chose. And I got to tell you, man, right before she passed away, I told the girls, hey, no one should have to tell you this, but I think Mama's going to go be with Jesus soon. And if there's anything you want to say to her, this is your time. And man, those girls, they ran in there to talk to her. And then after she passed, I did the same thing. And I was just like, no one should have to tell you that your Mama, she's gone. And, she went to be with Jesus, and her body, she's not in there anymore. Her body's in there. And they said, Papa, it's not your fault. And they comforted me. I was like, what? Who are these kids?
Right.
Like they're just so genuinely in it. And they've been the biggest gift ever. I mean, I think we always say our kids are a gift. Always.
Yeah, sure.
But man, in this season, they are, I mean, it's hard to,
it's hard to describe. And thank you for sharing that, because I have 4 kids of my own, and I have 4 grandkids. And when I see them walk into a room, I start to cry. And there's 2 reasons why I cry. One, obviously I love them because they're part of my family. But 2 is they remind me of who I am.
Yeah.
You look at the resiliency in your girls and what they were, doing and showing you. You even said it. Us as adults, we have all these layers we got to get through, and kids are just in tune. They're just right there. But I think it's also a reminder that's where we need to be.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's hard to be there. It's hard to do that. But that's that's one thing that my wife, man, there was no veil between, if something sad happened, she would cry immediately. If something joyful happened, it was right there. It was right there for her.
Yeah.
It was right there for anyone. And it mesmerized me. It's one of the reasons why I have so many photos of her and so many videos, because I was always trying to capture that.
Yeah.
Because it was so amazing to watch her interact and be in the world, because she was so pure about things. And it was just amazing. And kids are like that. Kids, they start laughing when something's funny. Adults kind of, like, like, shame on us.
So true.
Yeah. It's like, if you can like rekindle the kid in you, it's like you start to feel better about life, and
totally,
there's something to it.
There is. It's about being childlike, not childish, but childlike again. And there's such magic there, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's funny. I've had this book on my desk, your book, Thank You, Cancer. And
Yeah.
I just set it here on the edge of my desk, and then I read it when I can and this and that. And I work with clients who are struggling with addictions. They've lost family members to, suicide, cancer,
Yeah.
addiction, what have you. And without fail, it's been such a talking piece because they're like, why are they saying thank you, cancer? Like, and I'm like, man, if you only knew, and I keep telling, hey, let's get you a copy of this book, right? And so let's talk about why, I know you and Raffi had an idea of putting this book together. And so talk about how that came about, and then why you came up with the title, Thank You, Cancer.
Yeah. So, this all happened in 2020 is when she was diagnosed in August of 2020. I came from the fitness world where we were always very involved in social media, posting things about the gym and all these things. And so, and I had been blogging for years, just with the gym website and all these things. And she was also involved in like helping out moms and kids, and she was a doula, and so it was very commonplace for us to share like our lives, and we just decided that like, hey, we're just going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the good. We're going to talk about the bad. We're going to talk about the ugly. We're going to talk about the whole thing. Like, just because it should be talked about, because you shouldn't have to hold on to all of these things.
Yeah.
And people wanted to know. And when you're in a situation like that, it's very hard to text message everybody.
Right.
You're exhausted. You don't want to, right? It's terrible.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, we'll kind of, accomplish both in one deal. So we started talking about it, and we would, post the journey and write blogs and things. And eventually we kind of started in 2021, we were like, hey, we should write a book together, and it will be dual perspective. Like we're very different, right? Very different perspectives, very different views on things. Mm-hmm. But a team, we're one. And so it's like, okay, well, me as the caretaker, my view is different than her as the patient. And then I'm a father, she's the mother, it's like husband, wife. There's so many dynamics here that really have value. And so we just kind of always talked about it, never did it. What we did do was both of us wrote the whole time she was ill. So, I think it was 1,592 days, whatever that is, from her diagnosis to the day she passed. So all of that time we both wrote and wrote very raw entries of the moment we were in. So it's like a painting of a moment, right? It's like, holy cow, this is crazy, right? But it's one moment, And so after she passed, I was trying to keep a hold of my sanity. And I knew that writing was a way that it helped me clarify things. So I started writing just whatever. And it ended up being poetry, which is weird because I've never written poetry, but pain turns out it pours out as poetry.
Right.
And in that, I remembered that we were going to write this book, and I was like, I wonder if I could do that. But the problem was it was like a dual perspective. I was like, because that was the idea, and I wasn't going to not do the idea.
Yeah.
And I remembered that she had written all these entries, so I took them all, and I was like, all right, well, what if I put them all in a timeline? What does that look like? And so I dropped the majority of them in a timeline. I didn't change anything. There's spelling errors, there's grammatical errors. Like I left them because that's her writing. And then I took my writings and kind of transparency them over the top. So they filled in gaps that were there. So then you have kind of like a patchwork quilt that still has some missing spots.
Sure.
But those are all in the moment, very raw entries that we had.
Yeah.
And you've read them. I mean, you can attest. Yep. But and then I wove them together as a narrator, like in today's sense, added some context here, added some context there. And then there were these moments, like I talked about, where God would show up in our story. And I was like, man, there's too many of them to not, I had a huge list.
Yeah.
And so I chose to put those in there as well. So there's three voices in the book. There's Raffi's voice telling her own story. There's my voice telling the complement of that. And then there's God's voice. So I took these Jesus moments, as we call them, and wrote them in there and then put a Bible verse at the end. So the cool part is it's like, hey, here's what happened in my life. Yeah. And here's the connection to this ancient text called the Bible that is the most hyperlinked book on the planet.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cool, right? It totally connects the two, because I was hoping that when someone would read our story,
Yeah.
that they would walk out and be like, wait a minute, if those verses like connected to their life, maybe they connect to my life.
Yeah. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Beliefcast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode.
Instead of it seeming like this thing that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like it's this thing that, man, I can't, that happened so long ago. You're like, we don't live the same life, all these things. So,
yeah,
no, and then it came together.
Wow. Well, I love that. And I love that that's a different approach, and I love it. And I do want to, for our listeners who maybe haven't even read the book yet, and you better go buy the book, by the way, and we'll put a link there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to read and I think this one's actually from Raffi herself, and it's in chapter 11 called Blessed by Cancer. And I just want to read something that she says here. When they talk about cancer, they do not tell you about all the opportunities it will bring. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here ecstatic that I am in treatment for cancer. What I'm ecstatic about and feel so deeply grateful for, which I never expected, is the time I had with my family. At first, we freaked out a bit thinking about all the weeks that I would need a caregiver with me. It was decided early on that Danny would not be my sole caregiver through this, that he would be home with the girls, that they would have one parent with them through the variables of this journey. Now looking back at each week and finishing my 6th week of treatments, as I say goodbye to my mother as we go our separate ways, I would have never had time with each of my siblings, family, friend, and mothers in the life without kids for 5 whole days ever. We all have our children, jobs, lives, but this whole cancer thing opened up time to laugh about spilled olives, crying on shoulders, and sharing a fuck yeah that I completed another week. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but it's not all bad news, heartbreak and hair loss. I could cry tears of joy for the first time it has created. And then it goes on and it says, thank you, cancer. Whew. I mean, I got chills as I'm reading it again. What are your thoughts on that, that I shared that? Where does your mind go?
It takes a big person to find gratitude in pain.
Yeah.
A big person.
Yeah.
And I watched her do it. And it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it changed our whole life.
Amazing.
It changed our whole life. And yeah, I don't know how to,
yeah.
I still marvel at it. And that's one main driver in our book and me continuing to tell the story, that it's just, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And I have people that still reach out to me all the time that they tell me that, they can feel Raffi talking to them, or they feel like they have a new friend in her. And I'm like, man, what a beautiful thing that her voice is still reaching people.
Right.
And still, I mean, to think that she's making friends. Someone said that, and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I feel like I'm her friend, honestly. And
it's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And I wish I could be like, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Like, no, not at all.
Right. Yeah.
But it's an undeniable, like, it's light coming from dark. Like, it's the best way I have to describe it.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. It still has me.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing. There's a quote by you that I want to share, and if you could just elaborate a little bit more for
Sure.
us. You say, you were made for more than just surviving this. Whether you have lost someone, lost yourself, or lost your way, what you're looking for exists on the other side of this. What does that mean, and what were you alluding to with that?
We all have moments in our lives that don't go our way.
Yeah.
And if you can step out of those, which is hard to do in the moment because of emotion and just the whatever's happening, it's really, I believe that it's an invitation. It's an invitation to, like I call it now, like change your orientation from one of self to one of God or service.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this story, my story, Raffi's story, this is God's story. We just sit front row. I think the problem that we have as people, and it's for all of us, is that we think we're the center of everything.
So true, right?
and
yeah.
We're a part of everything. We're not the center of it. You know what I'm saying? And I think it takes some beating around to start having those like it takes some age, it takes some decades, it takes some whatever.
Yep.
But because I'll tell you that when this whole thing came down the pike and our life went out of control, I will tell you, I had no answers. There's not enough money. There's not enough time. There's not enough knowledge. There's not enough anything to solve the problem that there is. When we did this one thing, changed our alignment, I call it, to aligning with God, the whole story illuminates in a crazy way that I would never imagine. And the stories in there are insane.
Yeah.
That happened to us in our life. And if I wouldn't have lived through them and I wouldn't have recorded them, I would not believe them. And so this moment that feels like it's breaking you, I love this, but I don't love this. But like this moment that feels like it defines you does not. It refines you.
Yeah.
But that's only if you look at it as an opportunity. And that takes time or that takes perspective. And the problem with perspective is, as any of us know that have it, would trade it all for what we lost to get it.
Yeah. Good point.
I will happily give you all of the perspective you would like to have my wife back. I do not care. I will carry no perspective forward if I can. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And so, it's just, wow. It's really hard going through hard things.
Yeah.
But we share that. We all share that. And it's different, if it's loss for me, addiction for you, like it's a different, we all have the thing, and I don't know what it is, but I think that there's a reason we have the thing.
Yeah.
And I think it unites all of us.
For sure. And, you have an interesting quote on your website by Henry David Thoreau that says, most men lead lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with their songs still in them. Yeah. And I think that's kind of to your point you're alluding to here. It's like you have to look at this in a different perspective in order for it to look back and go, okay, I mean, for you to even title the book, Thank You, Cancer, I mean, that tells me a lot about you and about how you see this now, Yeah,
I mean, I realize it's polarizing, but there's a reason for it. And it's something that we agreed upon. It's not my own musings. Right. So, but it really is, man. It's like, because life has so much suffering regardless.
Right.
Like it's going to happen. Like you can't get away from it, and okay. So if we're going to have suffering, it's just all about me. That's just the game. Like it doesn't go very far.
It doesn't,
because you run out of answers pretty quick.
Yeah. I heard this quote by a Hindu monk, and I wanted to get your perspective on this because of obviously what you've been through. And the quote goes like this: your trials didn't come to punish you, but to awaken you.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that?
Yeah. So do you know, have you heard of La Pieta?
I have not.
Okay. So it's a marble sculpture it's, I think it's in St. Basil's Cathedral, maybe. I forget where it is. But anyways, it's a marble sculpture. I think Michelangelo did it, I believe. I could be wrong there. But it is of Mary holding Jesus after he was taken off the cross. And it literally, if you see it, it is like, it's the most unbelievable scene you've ever seen. But the interesting thing is that unquestionably it is art.
Yeah.
But Michelangelo carved it out of one boulder. He looked at a big, ugly rock and was like, hold on. I see this in there. And for us, what's interesting is that I think that the unlayering of our lives, the taking away, the chiseling and the hammering that sucks and is painful is actually revealing something much more beautiful than what we have. And that's where I think like American culture goes wrong. It's like, no, I need all this stuff to be added to me. Like I need things, I need money, I need accomplishments, I need all these things. And it's like, you find out that it's empty. It's like, yeah, because the gold, the treasure is inside of you. It's like, it has to be found. But the problem with that is like, there's a lot of pain. The hammering and chiseling sucks. It's not all polishing, you know?
Yeah.
And that, when you said that, that's what I thought of, was like, that's, instead of trying to build something beautiful, it's like, go find it. It's already there. Like you have, like God put a gift inside of you and he put one inside of me.
Yeah.
It's our job to find it.
Yeah.
Finding it is not about adding things to your life. It's about distilling down to what is true.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot, unfortunately, I think it takes a lot of pain to get there. And that, because we're a little dense.
Yeah. Right. That is true. We have to,
which I'm plenty proof.
I have to be hit over the head several times to finally get it. Totally understand that. I know this is an unfair question, but I wanted to see if something comes to mind when I say, now where you sit with me here today, and I'm grateful that you're on the show, Danny, grateful for your life and grateful for what you're doing. Is there a lesson through all of this that stands out more than the others? Like you look back, this is what I learned. I know that's an unfair question because there's 1,000 lessons, if not more. Is there something that kind of stands out, or a few things that stand out to you?
There's a couple. The first one is for people that are struggling, as we all do. I would say that you're not alone.
Yeah.
And I, in my life, have been very open to sharing about the struggles that I have. And that has done nothing other than bring beautiful things into my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's people want to help. People care. People don't know how to help. People don't know how to deal with it. And so you're just not alone in your suffering. And I know when you're suffering, it feels like you're alone, and it's not the case.
Right.
And speaking on a bigger level, like it's, it is modeled by the one guy who did the suffering of all sufferings.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Like it's true, you know, and that's a beautiful thing, because I think about it on a daily basis. Like I really struggle every day with my life and her not being here. Parenting is such a struggle without her. Like she was the heart of our family. She, you know, as a male, turning on the nurturing thing is not pre-wired.
Right.
That takes all of it out of me. And when I do that, I feel like I've exhausted everything else for the rest of the day. And then I feel griefy, you know, then I feel sad.
Yeah.
And that's really hard. And I literally think every day it's like, hey, at least I'm not walking across up a hill.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like, I can do one more day. Okay. I can do another day. And it's true. It's just, suffering is part of the game. And it's like, where do you orient yourself? Do you orient yourself, to your your success and things. It's like, go ahead. It's a short road.
Yeah.
I've just seen the end of it. I've seen everything get taken away.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen money burn faster than I could even imagine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
and that's crazy.
Yeah.
To just not be in control of things.
Mm-hmm.
But we just weren't. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm clearly not in control of things.
Wow.
I've been shown.
Sure. Wow. Well said. You kind of answered this throughout the whole time we've talked here today. But if there's someone tuning into you right now, Danny, and they're in a dark place and they're looking for something, man, they're at the end of whatever their struggle is and they feel like they can't do it anymore. What would you tell that one person that's tuned in right now who's in that position?
Well, I would say you're not alone, first of all, like I said, but that moment is the moment that I'm speaking of. It is the moment that an orientation change in your life will change your entire life. There is a whole universe outside of our own perception. Like for us, I would explain it like we would see our life like in this frame. I was like, I could see like, okay, I could make money and fix this thing or whatever. Every time that God showed up in our story, it was from outside of our frame. I couldn't see it. Raph couldn't see it. And it's like, okay, so we have a limited perspective. And it's like, okay, like, yes, this moment that you're in is not the end. What it's telling you is like, hey, maybe there's a different way. And, one quick way to understand is like, okay, God, help me out here. Show me a solution.
Yeah.
Help me. I'm open to it, and that was what we did. And that's starting that conversation. That's what I said. Like, I learned that like the like happenings of religion weren't the things that it was about. It's about a relationship. And it's like, I didn't know that I could just like talk to Jesus like he's my friend.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, I'm really struggling. Like, I need some help. Like whatever. Yeah. It doesn't matter. The conversation is the win, and when I started that and when we started that, our entire life changed. And I claim no responsibility other than just being like, hey, all right, God, what do we do here? Because I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's, it's that moment. And in that moment, when in retrospect, like if I asked you today, I was like, Todd, what was the worst day of your life? You could probably tell me, you don't have to tell me, but you could probably tell me a day.
Oh yeah.
And I'd be like, well, is that today? No. So you made it, right? So there's something more at play here.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's proof, like there's more going on than what we can see. Right. And so it's like, okay, just know that, because I would tell you the same is true. Worst day of my life. Is it today? No. Did I make it today? Yes. Okay. There's something to that, right? There really is proof there. But in those moments, we can't see outside of the storm. And that's okay. The storm is meant for that purpose.
Yeah.
But it's also a moment where we have an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I think is the most beneficial thing that I can do now is show someone the pattern in my life of opportunities where I could have done the thing that changed everything. And there were lots of them, right? There was losing multiple jobs, all these things. It's like, I could have done this at any of these junctures, but I didn't, because I didn't see the pattern. And at this point, now I've begun to see a pattern. It's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And I spent a lot of time coaching, so that's the part of me that's like, hey, okay, how do I? So I'm writing another book that's about that, but it's like, how do we recognize this pattern? Because that's the game. When life moves outside of ourselves, things change. And so, long answer to short question.
No, beautifully said. Thank you for sharing your words. They're needed, because I know, Danny, there are people tuning in right now that are in that dark place. And so thank you for those words. Man, there's so much more we could talk about, but I want to ask you, how do our listeners and followers get a copy of your book, find out more about what you're doing, learn more about your coaching and your speaking? And obviously, it sounds like you got another book you're working on, and when that comes out, obviously we want to give a prize to that. So what's the best way for someone to do that?
I think the easiest way is just my website. It's my name, Danny Lesslie, and then .co. There's no M, it's just CO because of internet things. But there's two S's in my last name, which is where a lot of people mess up. So DannyLesslie.co, and it's all on there. You can find, I write blogs on there. The information on the new book is on there. Like there's all the things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all there.
Okay. No, I love it. And I'll put the link there so everyone can just click right to it. And well, Danny, this has been a pleasure. It's been my blessing to sit here and learn from you, and to feel for what you've gone through, and to learn from you on how to deal with these difficult things and move forward. And I know you're still working on things, but I love the message of looking upward in times of struggle. So thank you for being you. And I'm so grateful that we connected. And I love what you do, and I love your vibe as well, you know?
Yeah. Well, Todd, I really appreciate it, man. I think, like I told you earlier, I think you've created something really beautiful, and I'm just honored to be able to speak to that and forward what you're doing, because one person's voice only goes so far. And so when you join forces, then it's like, okay, well, now we might be able to reach some more people and get a message that's really needed to someone.
Right.
And so I appreciate you having me on and giving this time. And I hope that this is something that your listeners resonate with.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Danny. And I will have you back on when you get your other book out too. We'll help promote that as well. So I'd love
anytime, brother. I'm happy to come on anytime. It's a pleasure.
I'd love to be a part of that. So, well, there you go, folks. Danny Lesslie, his book is Thank You, Cancer. I'm telling you guys, if everyone knows someone who's gone through cancer, you might even have a family member, this book is for you, I promise you. And even if you don't know anyone, this book will inspire you to look upward and to watch the resilience of Danny and his girls and how they live their life. It truly is inspiring. God has your back, guys. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to my sponsors. Without you, I couldn't do this. And I love you guys for believing in me. Take care, everyone.